I'm Harley. So, I am not necessarily doing a sleepy time cinema, but I have big news. I finally watched all of Walking Dead. I caught up. I watched it all. I loved this season and hated it all at the same time. So, there's spoilers. If you're not caught up, just stop watching right now because I have to talk about it. I loved this season. There was such a huge story arc. Meeting Negan and all of the things that Negan does, with Negan taking out Glenn and Abraham and where that leaves everybody. It's such a hole in the group. Glenn was kind of like the heart and soul of the group. He just kind of like kept like hope alive, I feel like. He had such a good spirit, such a helpful spirit. And, at the end of this season, they talk about how if Glenn hadn't saved Rick at the very beginning in like episode, I think 1 or 2, they wouldn't be there right now. They wouldn't be the group that they are. They wouldn't be doing all of the things that they're doing. They wouldn't know each other. So Glenn was really like a huge part, and he leaves this just gaping wound in the majority of the group. And then losing Abraham, who's this like strong muscle. He's like Rick's right-hand man. He's soldier bound all the way. So he's just, Rick's like the captain. He comes up with this plan, and Abraham is the one to enforce it. He, as they say at the end of this season, he puts his head on the chopping block because that's his job. That's what he is supposed to do. So when season 7 opens, there's everybody in the group dealing with this trauma that has occurred, and where do they go from here, and what's the next step, and what should they do? And Rick is really, he has the hardest time, I think, initially struggling to cope and like figure out what he needs to do, because it's always been his job to protect everybody and to be the one who takes care of everyone and has a plan and has, foresight into what should be done. And I don't know if it's just because he's just a smart dude, or if it's just his personal experience, or if it's his law background, that he's just really, really good at leading the group. And the fact that he couldn't protect everyone, that really just leaves him broken for a minute. And because of his indecision about what to do next, and his just need to like come to grips with everything that happened and deal with it, it really leaves a split among the group, because you have Maggie and Michonne and Carl and Rosita, who are all just like gung-ho, like, we're going to war, we're going right now, we're going to do this, we're just going to take them out. And Rick is kind of like, I don't know if that's the best plan. Yes, I want to fight them, but we should be smart about it. And to his credit, they don't just go charging in and get just taken out. They would just be annihilated, because there's so many more than they are aware of. It's so much bigger than they're aware of. So by taking a minute, taking a step back, playing along with Negan, they really get a good idea of what they're up against and how big this whole thing is. And they get a better idea of the groups, the kingdom, and the hilltop, and just all of the other people that are available, and get an idea of if they're happy. Because if nobody else wants to fight, if nobody else wants to join forces, then Alexandria just has to deal with it and go along, because they can't do it by themselves. It's not a one community battle. It has to be all of the communities versus Negan's community. And with that, it kind of leaves Rick by himself. It's like Rick and Morgan are like the two that are like, let's kind of wait a minute and just see what's going on. And I think that's one of the first times that we've ever seen Rick be more cautious. And it's because of that huge loss of Abraham and Glenn, that he has no other choice. I think he just doesn't know what else to do. The fun thing I liked about this season is there's so much character development too. Carol, who, she's so back and forth, and I love Carol. Like, when I grow up, I want to be Carol. Like, that's my goal in life. She is awesome. She's my hero. But she, like, throughout her whole like story arc in the whole series, I mean, she's gone from like victim to warrior to pacifist back to warrior, and she's kind of been all over the place. But I love that you get to see that about her, that it's not just all one thing. No one person is just one thing the whole way. There's so many layers. And so it's funny because Carol in this season, she went from like, I'm a fighter, I'm just going to kill everybody because it's going to protect the group, to I can't fight anymore and I'm going to like basically run away and hide. I mean, that's what she does, right? Back to my friends are being killed again, and maybe it's my fault because I wasn't there, so I have to go kill people again. On the converse side of that, you have Morgan, who he was initially like, I am going to just hide and protect my family. And when that didn't happen, he went into full fight mode. I'm just going to kill anything and everything. Then he met up with someone who was like, you're broken, and this is, you can't keep going this way because you're just trying to kill yourself without killing yourself. So then he was a pacifist and didn't want to kill anything. And now he sees that you can't be one or the other. I mean, you can't kill nothing, but you can't kill everything either. You have to be in the middle. You have to know where to draw the line and what is right. And this whole series is just, it's a question of morality. What do you do to survive? How far will you go? And how far can you be pushed before you break? And this season really dove into that. Now, here are the things I loved. I loved that in this season they stayed pretty close to the comics. I mean, there's been times, I mean, it's along the way they've a lot of the time stuck kind of similarly to the comics, but there were certain scenes that were straight out of the comics. When with Dwight flipping, I mean, they could have done that with any number of characters. It could have been Eugene being like being in and like saying, yes, I am Negan, and then him be the one to be like, here's how we get him. But it's not. Dwight in the comics and now in the series is the one that's like, I hate Negan, I can't stand him, I don't want to go on with this anymore. Michonne, when she's fighting Tamiel in the tower, now granted in the comics, it's not Michonne, it's what's her name? Andrea. But because Andrea's not in the series, the TV series, and Michonne is the love interest now, it's essentially the same thing, just with the different character flipped in. And then, of course, Ezekiel, or is that his name, Ezekiel? King Ezekiel. Yeah, King Ezekiel. And Shiva. I love that they brought in Shiva. And I don't know if any of you have watched any of the behind-the-scenes stuff, but how they do the Shiva in the series, it's hilarious. Like, it's a guy like in a like blue leotard, like jumping on people. So to be an actor, I couldn't do it. I mean, to be an actor, you have to like be in the moment and be afraid and like show fear when it's a guy in a freaking leotard jumping at you. So my question really, and I'll pose it to all of you, is who do you think Ezekiel's romantic interest is going to be? Is he going to have one? Because in the comics, it's Michonne, but Michonne is with Rick now in the TV series. So my thought, and here's where I'm going, and maybe I'm completely out of left field here, but I'm really wondering if it's going to be Carol, because she's the one that's going to be with him, like side by side with him, fighting in the war coming up. And she's going to be the one that's going to have to like kind of coach Ezekiel into this other side of being a king. I mean, he's been pretty much a peaceful king up to this point, but now he's got to like lead his troops into war, and I don't think that's something that he's going to ultimately be super comfortable with. So I'm wondering if maybe they end up the couple, or maybe Ezekiel doesn't get a romantic interest and maybe he's just killed off. I don't know. We'll have to see in season 8 what's going to happen. So I really enjoyed this season. I'm sorry it took me so long to get to it. And then I took like a day to just kind of like, process it all and kind of see where I was at with it. But ultimately, I really think I liked what they did. I love to hate Negan. I will put it right out there. I hate him to such an extent, but like I'm torn because he has such moments, like when him and when he saves oh shoot, I'm drawing such a blank. What's her name? Shaniqua's her real name, or Saniqua or something. Oh God, that sounds terrible. Oh, she gets killed. Well, she doesn't get killed, but she dies in the last episode. Abraham's love interest. God bless America, I can't think of her name. But when he saves her from being raped, I mean, that's like the side of Negan that I love, where he's like this chivalrous guy who wants to like take care of his community. But I mean, it's the apocalypse. He's broken too, so he's got a really messed up way of protecting his community. And so I just, it's one of those things like if you look at it from the outside and not like loving Rick's group, you can see that like he could be Rick. Like he could just be the guy protecting his group, but he has just a really harsh way of doing it, and he's using the apocalypse to kind of live out, I think, every fantasy he's ever had of being a ruler and just being powerful. If you don't know Negan's backstory, I won't necessarily spoil it for you here, but if you want to discuss it, leave me a message in the comments and we can talk about it, because I do know his backstory. I have read the comic on him. I've also read the Walking Dead books that they put out, not just the trades. So I'm a Walking Dead wealth of knowledge. I might not remember everything because my memory is not great, but I have the source material. I can go back and look it up if you want to know. But Negan's story is pretty interesting, and when you find out who he was before the apocalypse, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to leave it with that. I look forward to Fear the Walking Dead this summer. I will try to stay up on it, and look for me on Sundays. I'm going to be twitching the Walking Dead games, continuing the games. So if you want to see the Telltale games, make sure to check me out on Twitch, follow. There's a little notifications thing. You should click that button so that when I put up new videos and new Twitch videos, you know that they get them. We share a moment then. When I put them up, we all get the same notification that they're available. And so if you want to be in on that notification, you should definitely make sure you get them. And you have to make sure you get your settings right. So I will talk to you all soon. Bye, guys.